CSM presents Time Out with Coach.
Time Out.
The purpose of Time Out is to take a rest from stress, to refocus on our priorities, and develop strategy. I encourage you to take a time out each day. A good time is at the beginning of the day. If you start restful, you're more likely to return successful. In this session of Time Out, our focus will be on control. Control is not about what we control, but what controls us. Someone said the greatest conqueror is the one who conquers himself. There are three areas of control that I want to talk to you about. One is, what motivates you? 2, what is your focus, mental control? 3, physical control. What is your energy and emotional condition? Spiritual control, mental control, physical control. These three areas will enable you to be successful, to achieve your purpose. A little girl prayed, "Thank you, Lord, for my baby brother, but what I really wanted was a puppy." We don't always get what we want. There are some things we cannot control. But if we lose control of ourselves, we're likely to lose everything else. Did you ever watch a team lose because of penalties? Did you ever watch them lose because of fouls in a basketball game? 5 fouls and you're out. Sometimes it takes less than that. It's sad to watch people with ability lose because of penalties. What happened? They lost control. Let's talk about these three areas of control. First, spiritual control. Spiritual control is what is motivating you right now. The greatest motivation, and I say this without hesitation, is service. The poorest motivation is self-service. Now, this flies in the face of a lot of things that you will hear in our pop psychology. Nevertheless, what I'm saying is a classical truth. You can serve God, the highest power. You can serve family, the atomic structure of society. You can serve the church because you believe in its mission. You can serve your company because you believe in its product. You can serve the public because it's the greatest market. My father, who I believe was a great man, used to say the happiest people on earth are those who live for a cause beyond themselves. Jesus Christ, the greatest entrepreneur who ever lived, and in a later time out I'll talk about what an entrepreneur is, said, "If you're faithful in a few things, you'll be made ruler over many." He also said, "The greatest one is the one who can serve all, or the most people." The beautiful thing about service is that it not only benefits others, but it trains you and proves you for promotion. It makes you ready when the opportunity comes. Service is a way of learning. Scriptures say that if we serve a prophet, we get his reward. That is, we learn from the one that we serve. It also says if you're faithful in something that belongs to someone else, eventually you'll have your own. If you sow service, you'll reap service. Now, the thing about service is this: attitude is vital. Attitude is the angle of approach. You've had somebody serve you in a restaurant that had a bad attitude. It negated everything they did. It's the angle of approach that matters. We used to have an airplane, and trying to land that small plane in a crosswind was a tricky thing. Fortunately, we had a good pilot, but the angle of the wings to the ground made all the difference in the world. If the plane came in with a bad attitude, it could crash. And so it is in our service. We have to keep the right angle of approach if we're not going to crash. John Beckett, who is a friend of mine and owner of the Beckett Corporation, has written 2 books. One is Loving Monday, the other is Mastering Monday. In the first book, Loving Monday, he taught his employees the service ethic. He not only taught them to serve the market and to serve the client, but he taught them to serve one another. In so doing, he created a strong morale in the company, and he created a higher level of efficiency. Everyone was helping everyone else to help the client. It has explained a great deal of his success. Spiritual control is keeping your motivation pure, service-oriented. Let's talk about mental control, or mental focus. Billy Graham, one of the most influential people of the past generation, said, "If you aim at nothing, you'll hit it." I saw a slogan on a business years ago that said, "We aim to please." Mental focus is where you're aiming. It's being able to rule out extraneous things and keep your eyes on the prize. Focus helps you to avoid distractions and wasted energy, inefficiency. Distractions frustrate you. You have a goal in mind, along comes minor issues that keep nagging at your attention. And they're there to make you lose focus, waste your energy, waste your time, and go home distracted, frustrated. Well, if you can stay in focus, if you can keep the first things first, you can achieve what you've set out to achieve, and you can let lesser things keep a lesser position. Now, there are 2 areas of mental focus. One, long-term focus. The other, short-term focus. Both are important. When I was 11 years old, I worked for a man who owned a boat, and we went out in the Gulf of Mexico, and he let me steer the boat. That was a big deal for an 11-year-old kid. Instruction was this: you see that tower on the shore? Keep the bow of the boat headed toward that tower. Well, being an 11-year-old, I didn't do that. I would notice the waves coming at me from the right. I would look back, and when I looked back, I noticed that I was steering a crooked course. Soon the boss came up and said, "Charles, keep your eyes on the tower in the distance and keep the bow pointed at the tower." Mental focus was a problem. It wasn't very long, by the way, till the boss took the wheel. Ern Baxter, who was a friend of mine for many years and has since passed away, told a story about a bicycle contest. Boys were told to ride their bikes across the plank, and the one that made it to the end of the plank would win. Well, all of them fell off the plank, except for one. He was asked how he was able to keep the bike on the plank. He said, "Well, the other guys looked at their front wheel. I looked at the end of the plank." Keeping your eyes on the end of the plank is mental focus, and it enables you to complete your tasks, to achieve your goals. Now, what about short-term focus? That is, how do I translate my long-term goal into immediate action? I've seen, and you probably have too, the slogan, "Think big, act small." That is, bring your large view down into immediate application. Another way of saying it is think globally, act locally. So we have to apply on a day-to-day basis our long-term vision to the immediate responsibility. Staying in emotional control, keeping our minds focused, Thomas Jefferson said, brought great advantage. The person who is in mental control is the person who keeps his emotions controlled. And that's very important if you're going to get there, because when you lose mental focus, you're liable to get frustrated, angry, distracted. Spiritual control, what motivates you? Mental control, your focus. Let's talk about physical control, because that is essential as well. You need a physical timeout. That means that you need to rest if you're going to be effective when you're working. If you lose control of your body, that can destroy all of your ultimate hopes and goals. There are 3 areas to physical control that are essential. 1, rest. 2, exercise. 3, diet. Now, many of us are real good at spiritual control or good with mental control, but we lose control of our bodies. Your body is the only vehicle you'll ever have to get you to your destiny. General MacArthur said, "The saddest words in war are too late. The saddest words in any endeavor are too late." I remember the doctor saying to me, "You're going to need heart surgery." I had a quadruple bypass. It was too late to change my condition. It required surgery. Fortunately, I didn't have a heart attack, and since that time, my health has remained good. But I was just minutes away from it being too late forever. I had 2 100% blocked arteries, 195 and 175. I was on a 10% blood supply. What happened? Well, I didn't rest enough, I didn't exercise enough, and my diet was atrocious. My cholesterol had gotten up over 300. Rest, get enough sleep, take breaks when you need them, not because we're lazy, but because we want to be effective. Exercise. What I do is I walk every evening. I try to have a brisk walk, and thank God it's helped my health. It doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to make exercise a difficult thing to get to. You just need a habit. Diet? Well, I learned that I was not tolerant to sugar, nor was I tolerant to yeast. And I learned that simple carbohydrates turned to sugar almost immediately. They were making me too heavy, and my body was building up toxins. Now, this is not a timeout about diet, but I would suggest to you that a healthy diet is essential if you're going to achieve your goals. It's easy to find a healthy diet. I would suggest that you do that you find a diet that's good for you. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. We've heard it said. It may be worth a whole lot more than that. The saddest words in health is too late. Let me say one more thing. Don't make big decisions on a low energy level. Now, this can happen. If you lose physical control, you will find yourself under great stress having to make big decisions. Probably you're going to make some bad decisions, and they may cost you long term. You may spend a lot of your energy trying to correct a bad decision. Did you ever write a letter you wish you could get back? Did you ever send an email? Did you ever leave a message? Did you ever just have an outburst that you wish you could erase? Well, that happens to most of us, especially those of us who have an A-type personality or a D personality. I'm one of those. One of the greatest characters in history was Moses. Moses didn't really start his main purpose in life till he was 80, and at 120, he had great eyesight, was still virile and strong. But Moses had a problem. He had to lead a bunch of ex-slaves over the desert into the place of their destiny. All of us have to go from one place to another, and sometimes it's a tough journey. What happened to Moses was, on one occasion, he got very angry. He did something he wasn't supposed to do. It offended his boss and his employer, which of course was God. He said some things that he should not have said. He didn't ever reach his ultimate destiny. Now, Moses was a great man, and we wouldn't take away from that. None of us would compare ourselves to Moses. But Moses made a big mistake on a low-energy level. A friend of mine, Charles Green, made a statement that I wrote down. He said, "Don't make a permanent mistake in a temporary wilderness. Emotional times, stressful times will pass. But you can do something in those times. You can make a decision that can cost you permanently. So be careful. When you're at a low energy level, a high frustration level, put your decision off. Better yet, try to avoid a situation where your level is low." Vince Lombardi is probably the best-known coach in all of history, football coach, coached the Green Bay Packers champions many times. He was asked, "What kind of player are you looking for?" He said, "I'm looking for a player with brains, ambition, dependability, willingness to work, and a positive attitude." He knew exactly what he was looking for and what he cultivated in his players. Those qualities built champions, and they still do. Timeout is over, and this ain't no game.
For more information on Time Out with Coach or CSM, please visit www.csmpublishing.org.